Okay, so before we can show our data in the tree, we have to configure the tree to have the right number of columns. And so I'm going to add a call to set up tree right after start UI. And I think instead of start UI, I'm going to say init UI, just because we're not really starting it until we run the main loop. So init UI, and then setup tree, I'll put right after init UI. And I'm going to be using the tree a lot in this code, so let me just bind a local variable to it. Oops. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is configure the columns. And so let's tree configure columns equals, and then I'm going to give it IDs for each column. And the IDs can be a bunch of different things, but I'm just going to use numbers. So yeah, so we had 6 pieces of data, 0 through 5. And then not all of these columns are going to be visible because one of the pieces of information that we grabbed was this tconst, this ID. And this is actually a link to what page on Internet Database holds information about this show, but it's not necessarily meaningful to the user, so I don't want to display it in my table. So in addition to specifying the columns, I'm also going to specify the display columns. And then that's going to be everything except for column 0. And then I can also specify a style, and I'm not going to do that just yet, but I'm going to come back to that later on when I want to make the thing look fancy. So now I have 5 columns being displayed. I can set some properties for each of those columns as well. So I want to do tree.heading for column 1, and that's going to be the title. And actually what I want to do here is go and get this row again and paste that there. So 1 is heading, and I want to align the heading, I want to left justify it. So anchor is going to be tk.west. And then the rest are going to be centered, which is the default. So column 2 is going to be the type. And column 3 is the start year. So I'm just going to call that year. Column 4 is average rating, and I'll just call that rating. Column 5 is num votes, and I think I'll call that num votes. Okay, so there are my columns. And then I can also adjust some other properties, but let's go ahead and see what we have so far. Okay, so I have all my columns, and the default is pretty big. For some reason it's showing column 0, and it shouldn't be. So let's go ahead and make sure that I got that right. So display columns, 5. Okay, looks okay so far. Let's go ahead and adjust the column widths, and I want to center some stuff too. So we'll make column 1 wider than the other one. So I'll do 250 for column 1 and 100 for the other ones. And I think that's probably enough to start with. Okay, so that's looking a little better. Still not quite sure why I'm getting that column here. So still not sure why I'm getting something in column 0, but let's go ahead and insert some data and see if it shows up in the table. So here's my fetch shows, and I have the shows at this point. So what I want to do is for each of the rows that's coming back, for each of the shows, I want to insert that into the table. So for I in range lane of shows, I'm going to go ahead and self.undertree.insert. So that's the group I want to insert it into, and I only have one group. And then where I want to insert it is end. And then a row is a set of values. And then I need a tuple here. So I could just go ahead and do like shows sub I dot get title and shows sub I dot get whatever the second column was. Go ahead and copy this there as well. Just type. So I could do each of those, get type, and so on, but this is going to make for a really long line. So what I want to do is add a helper method that's going to return a tuple from a show. So def show to tuple. So show to tuple is going to return the tuple show.title show.getYear actually type then show.getYear then show.getRating and show.getNumVotes. And I haven't defined these accessors yet. Actually, I do need a show. I don't need self. All right, so here's a static method on the app class that makes a tuple out of a show. I need to define these accessor methods. And then here, when I do the insert, I'm going to insert browser app dot show to tuple shows sub I. Okay, and then I just need those accessor functions. So def get title and get type. And get year. Start year. Rating. And non-votes. Okay, and I don't think I need an accessor for tconst just yet, but I will when I have the IMDb button. So okay, so that should be all my accessors. And that should be my insert method. Let's go ahead and run it and see what we get. So I won't actually get any results until I select both a genre and a type. So let's do comedy movies. Not yet. So let's, oh, there it goes. Okay, so I'm off by one. So I need to include tconst here as well in the tuple. So let's go ahead and do show.getTconst. And then let's try it. Adventure movies. So this is not the right value. Did I mess up my accessor function? Let's look. Yeah, so get title is right, but get type is wrong. So this should just be primary title. Nope. Yeah, primary title. Okay. Good. Okay, so we're almost there. Now I want to center these. So let me go ahead and center those. And that's back over here where I'm setting up the table. Anchor equal tk.center. All of those. Okay, so I think I forgot a property on my tree view itself. That first column is special because it's a type of thing. So let me pull up PyGubu and select that tree view. And let's see what we have. Select mode, browse, and then this show. This is the important thing. So show headings, not tree. So I don't want that, I want this. So let's save and hope for the best. Okay, so that seems to have been it. Great. So now it works and I can drag around, resizes, centering is right, column sizes are okay. Last thing I want to do is add a selection method. So when I click on one of these, I want to enable this button. So the state of this button needs to go to normal when I get a selection event in the table. So tree view item selected. Let's find the event name for that. Tree view item selected event. Tkinter. So that's a double click. Probably just click, but tree view select. That looks like it. So let's try tree view select event. So we'll go to bindings and we'll double click tree view select. That's going to be show selected. Save. And then I need a show selected event handler. And let's just print selected. And then self.tree.selected item is so let's get the selected item. Right. So cur item is tree focus, and then you can get the thing when you have the item. Yeah, tree.item, cur item, tree.focus. So tree.focus returns the index of the currently selected row, and self.tree.get item of that index will actually return a tuple of values, I think. So let's go ahead and see what we get. Action, movie, and I click. So it wasn't get item, it was tree.item, just item. Okay, let's try it now. Get rid of these. And run. Good. Okay. So my selected item is an object that has a values property, and the values array values property holds a list of values. I want this one right here. So the selected is self.tree under tree.item, and then tree focus. So values sub 0. That should be the tconst of the selected item. And that's what I'm going to need to open the URL here. Oh, so I have to do values sub-0. Good. Okay, so that should be the tconst for Star Wars Episode 4. So all of that actually goes here in this show IMDb, the thing that runs when I click the button. To enable the button here, I want tree dot. Did I bind that? Yeah, not yet. Okay, so I need to bind the button. So here's the button. I need the ID, show IMDb button, save, save. And then here, self.show button is builder get object show IMDb button parent. And for consistency. Okay, and then here I want self.show IMDb button. State is probably tk.normal. Let's see if that works. Okay, so watch this. Oh, and it's enabled. And then if I click on it, it prints the selected thing. And then if I change this, oh, was it already action? Probably. Let's do animation. Oh, I forgot to clear this table out when I fetched new results, so it's just adding more and more stuff on there. So let me go ahead and fix that bug, and then I'll come back to this thing. Okay, so to clear out that table, I'm going to do it right before, actually, yeah. So let me do it right before I add these shows. So for I in self.tree get children, self.tree.delete I. So that'll clear out all the old ones. So adventure movie, click enabled, and then switch. Nothing is selected now, so I need this to not be enabled. So we're also going to do here self.under show IMDb button state is tk.disabled. So when I clear the items out of the tree, I also clear that there's a selected item. Kung Fu Fury. And then adventure. Those are adventure shorts. Let's do adventure movies. Good. So it's updating correctly now. Animation, comedy. Select that. That's highlighted. Action. It's grayed out. Good. Okay, so that's all working. So now let me go ahead and just add the web page pop-up. So I also need to import a web browser package. So import web browser. And then in this method, let's go ahead and get the tconst. And then I'm going to call webbrowser.open, and it's got URL, which is http:// actually, let me go to an IMDb page. And I'll just go ahead and let me find a title here. Dune. So here's the Dune movie. So this is the format I want. And then paste that URL in. That plus tconst. And then I think I want a new window. And I think that will work. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. Animation, movies, Coco. Show IMDb page, Coco. And let's do a TV episode, Ricklantis Mix-Up. And there's the episode. So that's all working. Okay, so this is almost everything. The things that are missing right now are when you start the program up, there's nothing in this tree view. And the reason is because right now we're matching genre against this thing and types against this thing. And there are no shows in IMDb that have the genre all genres and none with the type all types. And even when I select adventure, now it's matching adventure genre for show, but it's still matching all types for types and nothing matches. So it's not until I have both of these things set that I actually get any results coming back in the table. So I have to fix the query to essentially ignore genre when it's all genre and ignore type when it's all type. That's what's going to allow me to handle these correctly. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is I could make this look a little nicer. So the style I used in the other one, which I still have around from before, is I'm tinting alternating rows, and I've styled the header as well. And I think that's about it. So I'm going to do that in a separate video because this one's already pretty long, and then we'll be done.